As we hit the halfway point of the PlayStation Platinum project, I am upping the search. I am travelling further afield, heading to one of the craziest game stores I have ever been to. With just 80 games to go, we have a massive stack of viewer mail. Folks, and welcome back to the PlayStation Platinum project. My challenge for 2023 to try and add all 160 power release PlayStation Platinum games to my collection. And at the end of the last episode, we hit a massive milestone. 80 games in the collection. That means we are halfway, and now the hard work starts. As we have hit the halfway stage of the PlayStation Platinum project, it just gets harder from here. I'm going to go to some new places to try and find the last 80 games and try and complete the PlayStation Platinum project. If you enjoy this series, please hit that like button and subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, but videos like this one are more sporadic, so make sure you subscribe to never miss an episode of the PlayStation Platinum project. As I said, the hard work begins now, the hunt for the final 80, and there is no better place to hunt than the nation's capital. Recently, I headed down to London for the weekend to see how many CEX stores I could visit in one weekend for the crazy world of CX. And of course, whenever I visit a CEX store, I'm always looking for Platinum games for the PlayStation 1. But it seems it's getting harder and harder to find these in the CX stores, especially now as there's less and less games that I need for the PlayStation Platinum project. But spoiler alert, we did manage to find a few, but in very select CX stores in the heart of London. Over the course of the weekend, I went to 5 different CX stores, but spoiler alert, I only managed to find Platinum games that I needed for the PlayStation Platinum project in 2 of these stores. And this is the first store here. This is the CX branch in Camden. Again, one of my favourite parts of London. I just love visiting Camden every time I'm down. And even better, when I visited this time, I managed to find a game for the PlayStation Platinum project that I've been looking for absolutely ages. And even better, this is one of the cheapest Platinum games that CX still sells, so to pick this one up for super cheap price was a great find. The only other CX store that had a PlayStation Platinum game that I needed for the collection was Clapham Junction, but this was a heavy hitter. This is one of the games I've really been looking forward to adding to the PlayStation Platinum project. It is one of my favourite first-person shooters, not just on the PlayStation, but of all time, and I'm super happy to pick this up for a really good price in amazing condition from CX. So just 2 games crossed off the list this time. It's back to Norwich, it's back to the games room. I would have expected to have found more PlayStation Platinum games in the City of London, but at least it's 2 more off the PlayStation Platinum project. So London was an absolutely fantastic time, and if you haven't seen it yet, please go back and watch my episode of the Crazy World of CX to see the amazing pickups I found in those 5 CX stores in the heart of London. So I did manage to pick up 2 games whilst I was there for the PlayStation Platinum project. The first of which is one of the cheapest PlayStation games that CX still sells. It seems that every month they're selling less and less PS1 games, so I was super happy to pick up this one, Time Crisis Project Titan. That's because this is one of the cheapest PlayStation Platinum games that CX sell, and a lot of stores are normally a little bit more expensive than CX. To be able to pick up this one for £6 in amazing complete condition was a great find. Other game I picked up while in London is without a doubt one of the greatest, if not the greatest, and definitely the granddaddy of the first-person shooters, Doom, on the PlayStation 1. And again, this is a game which is probably cheapest to buy from CX. £15 is a really good price. Again, this one, I've been trying to find it for ages in this complete and just amazingly good condition. This is in really, really nice condition. There is quite a few stickers, but don't worry, the Goo Gone will remove that. But it was good just to add 2 reasonably heavy hitters to the PlayStation Platinum project. When we first started the PlayStation Platinum project, I said I would look anywhere and everywhere for these PlayStation Platinum games, and that is even more true now as we enter the second half of the PlayStation Platinum project. But so far, there are two places where I haven't really managed to find any Platinum games. They are the car boot and the charity shop, but this time, my luck may have changed. So this is one of my local charity shops in the market town of Wyndham, and here we have Mickey's Wild Adventure, box and complete for just £5. But if you've been watching the series so far, you will know I already have this game in the collection. So the first time I've seen a PlayStation Platinum game in a charity shop, unfortunately, is one we don't need for the collection. But onwards and upwards. Now that the weather is getting better, it is fantastic to be back at the car boots, especially on a Wednesday midweek. Now, normally these car boots are quite a bit quieter, but one of the first stalls I came across this absolute pile of PlayStation 1 games. Now, of course, I'm looking for all PlayStation 1 games, but particularly for the Platinum games. And the thing is, I actually missed one here that I needed for the PlayStation Platinum project. This is the thing, sometimes it's hard to remember what games you have, especially as a lot of these games can be quite forgettable. It still amazes me that some of these games actually sold enough copies to be classed as Platinum, because remember, the game has to have sold at least 400,000 copies. But walking around the car boot, I was heading home and I did manage to remember that I did need one of these games, and it is the Tarzan game. That's because there is so many Disney games, it's so easy to forget which ones you have. And this is not the last Disney game in this video. I cannot believe how many of these Disney games went Platinum, but I suppose it's just a testament to the fact that PlayStation 1 was perfect for all members of the family. Let's hope it's a nice cheap one. How much are your games?
£4 each, 3%.
£4. Basically, with any Platinum game under £5 is good with me. Let's grab it. Here we have it then, the first car boot find of the PlayStation Platinum project, Disney's Tarzan. And I cannot actually believe how many Disney games were released for the PlayStation 1, and especially how many of these games went Platinum. Remember, that means these games had to sell over 400,000 copies. And it was really good to finally find a game for the PlayStation Platinum project at the car boot. Now, the car boots and CX are all very well, but I said right at the start of the PlayStation Platinum project, you, the viewers of this channel, have the power to make this series a success. And you have been amazing in supporting this series, not just by watching, liking, commenting and subscribing, but by doing trades and selling me some amazing games for the PlayStation Platinum project. My favourite way to add games to the PlayStation Platinum project is trading with you folks, the viewers. But sometimes we can't agree on a trade. Maybe I have nothing you need for your collection, and in that case I am happy to pay money via PayPal, however we like, to add these games into my collection. That's exactly what I did this time with a viewer of the channel called Gary. We made a deal on two really nice condition games, and these are kind of carrying on today's soft theme of Disney games. And I'm always very impressed by all of you viewers because you always wrap these games up so incredibly nicely. So first off, we have this game right here, carrying on the Disney theme, Disney's Tigger Honey Hunt. Again, a game I cannot believe has made the move into the Platinum range. And the other game I bought this time is once again wrapped up absolutely fantastically in here. It is Stuart Little 2. And if you remember earlier in the PlayStation Platinum project, I did get a copy of this from a fellow viewer that was missing the front cover. Now, with these games, I did pay up a little bit for these two because of the absolutely amazing condition. And we are in 2023. A lot of these games are getting very old and very hard to find, and I'm quite happy to pay a premium for these games if they're in fantastic condition. Our next game is a trade, and it is from a viewer of the channel called Ben. It is Adidas Power Soccer. And I am actually amazed that it's some of these obscure sports games that are getting harder and harder to find. I have about 4 FIFA games I still need to find for the PlayStation Platinum project. It's sports games like this which I thought were going to be super easy to find, but it turns out they're a lot harder to find. So thank you, Ben, for trading this one. Next up, we have a fantastic platform game from the PlayStation 1, and these were games I didn't really play too much as, spoiler alert, I am pretty terrible at platform games. Now, one of these games in the series is really common, but it's getting harder and harder to find, Rayman 2. Indeed, I see Rayman 1 all of the time, but normally I think it's really overpriced. I think you can get Rayman for about £5, but in CX it's £10. In a lot of game stores it seems to be even more expensive, so thank you John for the trade of Rayman 2. If you've traded games with me before as part of the PlayStation Platinum project, you'll know that most of these games I get sent to my work. And I've never seen anyone at my work as excited when this box turned up, and everyone was sadly very disappointed it was not Lego inside it. Trust me, I just think I'd find anyone in the world who does not love Lego. I think it just transcends age, gender and race. Everyone loves Lego. And in here though, unfortunately, it's no Lego. We have 2 PlayStation games. The first game we have in here is Ace Combat 3. I never really got into the Ace Combat games, but I'm super excited to jump into this one as I do enjoy an arcadey kind of flight simulator kind of game. But let me know if you've played the Ace Combat games before. Let me know if this is a good one. So the final game in here is a little bit of a fail in a way, because we did have a little bit of a confusion and I did get sent the wrong game, but my mistake could be your game, because remember, with the PlayStation Platinum project I'm always looking to trade games, so keep an eye on my Instagram, my Facebook feed, and I always post up on YouTube all of my trades, because this game will be going straight into my trade pile. It is Command & Conquer, one of the greatest real-time strategy games of all time, but sadly I already have it for the PlayStation Platinum project. But if you are in need of this game for your collection, get in touch, let's make a trade. Let's work together as a community. Here we have our final trade this time, and it is a repeat trader. So I have not 1, but 2 games which I've traded with a person called Mark. And this is one of the things I love about this series, just building new relationships and just helping people build their collections. And I'm so thankful for all the help that all of you folks watching have given me in the PlayStation Platinum projects. This time we have 2 pickups from Mark, and the first which is V-Rally. Now this one is a little bit in a rougher condition, we did notice, but don't worry, I have got some spare bits for these cases. One weird thing about this one, it has no barcode in the back, which I thought was kind of weird, but it's really good to add V-Rally to the collection. But I have left the best till last this time. In this envelope, we have what is quite possibly not just one of my favourite games on the PlayStation 1, but one of my favourite games of all time. And more than that, this game transcends video games. This game helped shape my music taste. And I have banged on about this game multiple times before. If you've been watching the channel, I'm sure you will know this game is, of course, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. And one of the most important things about this series is going back and experiencing these games. So let's jump in and see if I've still got a knack and can still follow up an ollie in Tony Hawk's 2. Up an ollie. I didn't know, this is the thing, I didn't know about skateboarding. I just love this game. Here we go then, Tony Hawk's 2 on the PlayStation 1. One of my favourite games, not just on the PlayStation, but of all time. And it brings me nothing but pain, but to have to do this. To mute the television, because of course the YouTube gods will absolutely destroy me if I put the amazing music for this game into my video. And this game, the soundtrack is absolutely incredible. It is one of the best soundtracks of any video game ever. Here we go then, loading into one of the greatest opening levels in any video game. And let's see, have I still got the knack of playing Tony Hawk's 2? If not, I'm going to blame it on the fact that I have not got the soundtrack on, because it's such a big part of the game for myself. I just think this game has undoubtedly one of the best soundtracks of all time, and so far we're not looking like we're doing too bad. Like, I'm still can kind of remember most of the tricks, and then I fall over, but yeah, this was like such an absolutely classic game. This is one of the games I put so many hours in, and yeah, it really shows, doesn't it? But yeah, one of the best games on the PlayStation 1, and one of my favourite games to add to the PlayStation Platinum project. I may not be able to skateboard in the real world, but it still looks like I have what it takes to be an absolute master on a virtual board on the PlayStation 1. We are on to our final trip this time, and one of the most important things for me in the PlayStation Platinum series is shining a spotlight on some of the amazing independent stores around the UK. And this, without a doubt, is one of the absolute craziest video game stores you will ever see. Our final visit this time is the town of Great Yarmouth, and I'm come to this shop, Play. This is still, to this day, one of the craziest game shops I have ever been to anywhere in the UK. It is absolutely stacked, and I cannot think of a better place to hopefully get absolutely tons of platinum games crossed off the list. And trust me, heading through the door, this place is packed. I will be doing a full video on this store in the future, but look at this. All of these PlayStation 1 games, Black Label, Platinum games, all in alphabetical order. And yes, hopefully we can add a good couple of titles to the collection and cross off some of these games. Wish me luck. Let's get stuck in. This is going to be a crazy one. It may not seem like a big deal, but it makes my life so much easier when stores put their games in alphabetical order. I can just go through the list of games I need and I can just grab them straight off the shelf. And I said there's going to be a lot of Disney games. Is Bugs Life Disney? Maybe, but there's multiple copies of some of these games, so I can kind of cherry pick the ones in the best condition, because remember, we are looking for boxed and complete, so I'm looking for manuals, and I'm also looking for the boxes to be in good condition, because it's getting harder and harder to change the boxes on these PlayStation 1 games. Now, one thing to consider here: the prices on the games are not the prices you pay. Essentially, you take them to the desk at the front and you have to barter for the game. And again, I nearly picked up this FIFA game, which yes, I already have in the collection. I did go back and check the list and thankfully put that one back. This is a bit of a heavy hitter. I say heavy hitter, it's about a £15 game. Unfortunately, it didn't have the manual, so I can't check the discs because they're all behind the counter. But if the game does have a manual, it will be in the box. So remember, we're looking for boxed and complete. Yes, Dan, you already have that one as well. And this is a good one, which I've never seen before. This Aladdin game, I've never seen this. As I said, there's so many Disney games on the PlayStation 1 Platinum, and I've not played hardly any of these, and a lot of these I never knew even existed. Obviously, I know about Bust a Move, cool case here. This was a big job going through all these games. This shelf was absolutely stacked, and I'm just looking for any games I'm missing now. As we are past the halfway point, it is getting harder and harder to find games I need for the collection. I've never seen this one. Again, as I keep saying, so many Disney games like Lilo and Stitch game, never knew this one existed until I started the PlayStation Platinum project. Unfortunately, a lot of these were missing the manuals. Like Loaded, I did really want to pick this one up, but it's one that's fairly common, so I know I will find it with the manual down the line. This is a game which is randomly not that common, ISS Pro. It is becoming increasingly hard to find some of these, you'd think, very common sports games. I think there's like 4 FIFA games I still haven't found for the PlayStation Platinum project, which is absolutely crazy. And it's also crazy I still don't have the original Tomb Raider. I actually don't even have this game on Black Label, which is really unfortunate. And unfortunately, we couldn't agree on a price for that one. I think he was asking £15 for Tomb Raider, which unfortunately I do believe you can get it cheaper. This is one of the things, like, I think a lot of the prices in the store were based off price charting, so some of the prices were a little bit higher, but I did still manage to pick up 4 games for the PlayStation Platinum project, and these were 4 games which are harder to find. I was looking for the more obscure titles I'd never seen before, and trust me, there is some obscure stuff in this shop. I'll be back in the future with a full video going around this store, as I've just scratched the surface. There is so much more to see at Play. Just down the road from Play is Great Yarmouth CX branch, and don't worry, this will feature in a future episode of the crazy world of CX. But for the last time this time, let's have one last look for some PlayStation Platinum games to add to the collection. And I'm going to pick up 1 or 2 of these games. So let me know, do you think this will finally be the time I pick up the absolute classic, one of my favourite games of all time, Resident Evil 2? Or will this be the first time we've seen it, but the first time we capture it, Ape Escape? Or I missed out when we were in Play, will I finally add Tomb Raider to my collection? For the last time, let's take it back to the games room to answer those pickups. We are then back in the games room for the final time with our final pickups from Play in Great Yarmouth. And trust me, if you are ever in the area, pay it a visit. It has to be seen to be believed. And I will be showcasing that store a little bit more in an upcoming live game hunting episode. Now, normally when a shop doesn't have its prices on its games and goes somewhere like price charting to check, that's normally a red flag for me. But the owner of this store was super friendly, and we managed to make a really good deal on these 4 games here. So I decided to go with games that were fully complete with the manual, because that's what I'm aiming for. With the PlayStation Platinum project, it's all about preservation. I want these games in really nice condition and complete. And again, there's even more Disney games here. So here, first off, we have Disney Pixar A Bug's Life. And yes, this is a Disney film. I wasn't quite sure. I am not by far and away an expert on Disney films. I haven't even seen most of these films. And normally I enjoy a good Disney video game, especially like the old 8 and 16-bit ones. Didn't really play many on the PlayStation 1, but I look forward to checking out some of these. Next up, we have a game which I've never seen before. Aladdin and Nasira's Revenge. Again, I haven't seen Aladdin for about 20 or 30 years, so I have no idea what this game is, but this is the kind of game I want to pick up from these independent game stores, because I've never, ever seen this game before. Now, I said earlier in the video, some of these sports games are getting harder and harder to find, so I was really happy to pick up International Soccer Pro. Now, I used to play ISS 64 a lot back in the day, and this was at a time when I was a real N64 fanboy and I hated the PlayStation, so I've never played this version, but ISS 64 is possibly one of my favourite sports games of all time, so it'd be interesting to play this one on the PlayStation 1. Final game this time, again, a game I've never seen before, Lilo and Stitch Trouble in Paradise. There were just so many of these Disney games that I've never played and never knew made it to that Platinum range. So with these, there is a few stickers to remove, but I like it, to be honest. I love the preservation thing of the PlayStation Platinum project. So removing these stickers, making these games mint, and preserving the complete PlayStation collection. Our final games then this time were from CEX in Great Yarmouth, and I find it quite ironic. I went to 5 stores all around London and managed to find 2 games I needed for the PlayStation Platinum project, and I managed to find 2 games I needed in the CX in Great Yarmouth. Now, all of these were bought with trade-in credit. If you've watched my videos before, you know what it is. We go to charity shops, car boots, anywhere we can pick stuff up cheap to flip into CX for a profit. And that's what I've done. Use that flip profit to buy these 2 Platinum games. The first one is Tomb Raider in absolutely fantastic condition. Like, sadly, I couldn't make a deal on this game in play, but to pick up a condition of a game from 1998, this minty is absolutely fantastic. And we have one final game this time to add to the PlayStation Platinum project. So I said it was between 3 games. You know, I picked up Tomb Raider. Did I pick up Ape Escape or Resident Evil 2, my favourite game of all time? Unfortunately, again, I have not picked up Resident Evil 2. I have picked up Ape Escape, an absolute hidden gem which I don't think enough people talk about on the PlayStation 1, and a game which I can't believe has been allowed to die over the years. Now, I was very, very close to picking up Resident Evil 2, but the manual was in rubbish condition, the case was all scuffed and cracked, and this Ape Escape is in absolutely beautiful condition. And at the end of the day, that is what this is all about, preserving this entire collection for the future and having them in fantastic condition. The last thing to do this episode is one of the most satisfying things. It is adding these games into the collection. And I thought it's going to be getting a lot harder now. We are past the halfway point. But it's really good to keep crossing these games off the list on our epic adventure on the road to the complete PlayStation Platinum project. We are over halfway and we are showing no sign of slowing down. I was worried when we hit the halfway point of the PlayStation Platinum project it was going to get a lot harder, but it's just given me more drive to look more places, to go further afield, to build more relationships in the retro gaming community and work together to build this collection. This time we've added 17 games to the PlayStation Platinum project, which means we add 97 games out of the 160 that remain. And it's all thanks to you folks watching, keeping me going on the amazing journey that is the PlayStation Platinum project. There we have it then, folks. Another episode of the PlayStation Platinum project is in the bag. And we are down to 63 games. And I do mean we, as I cannot do this without your support. I'll be putting a list up in the next few days of those 63 games. And if you have any games on those lists, get in touch. Let's make a deal. Let's complete the PlayStation Platinum project. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and let the games begin. See you all soon.